Let's face it, the 2017 New York Giants are pretty trash. They played one good quarter yesterday against the Philadelphia Eagles and almost came back in that game, surprisingly enough. It was 14-0. They tied it up. Philadelphia made it 21-21, and then they scored a touchdown, 21-21. Field goals, and then they lost 27-24 in the end. But it doesn't really make up for the fact that they played some pretty bad quarters beforehand. First 3 quarters of that game and the first 2 games of the regular season. So here's the question. What's wrong with the New York Giants? A lot of us on the Bottom Line View had them at least going to the NFC Championship, and some of us even had them going to the Super Bowl. Me. So what's wrong with the New York Giants? Well, here's the top 5 reasons as to why the New York Giants are struggling in 2017. At number 5 is their terrible rushing game. This New York Giants rushing team is awful. And it's not really because of their talent. Orleans Darkwa, I think, is a good running back. You have Paul Perkins. Shane Vereen has been an excellent pass catcher for both the Patriots and the Giants. But what is up with this? The most rushing yards either one of these guys has had in the first 3 weeks of the season is 28 rushing yards by Shane Vereen in week 2. That's not good production. That's terrible. And this is low on the list because there's kind of a problem that makes this a little bit more difficult for them in particular that we'll talk about later on in the list. But this is not good production. Shane Vereen has been non-existent for this team almost. He's been barely catching passes. He didn't do anything in week 3. Orleans Darkwa hasn't been getting that many carries. Paul Perkins, who I thought was going to be one of the more underrated running backs in the league this year, hasn't done diddly squat. So this production is honestly pretty trash. And it's not helping matters that Eli Manning's having to throw so many times a game if their rushing production is not getting anything. So it's number 5 on my list. It's lower because of certain things later on, but it is definitely a big issue for them. At number 4 on our list, it's costly turnovers. The New York Giants offense is really known in the last couple of years to get a lot of turnovers. That's not a good thing. That's not what an offense wants to do, but it creates a lot of turnovers. And the guy on the screen we'll talk about later is definitely one of the main contributors. Look at the 4 interceptions he's thrown in the first 3 games of the season. In week 1, he threw one against Dallas that basically ended the game. It was 19-3. They had a chance to go at least score a touchdown, try to go for the 2-point conversion, and maybe get a tie in that game, but he threw an interception with 7 minutes left to Anthony Brown. Not good. He threw one interception last week against Detroit on Monday Night Football. They were trying to get some momentum, and that gave Detroit a huge opportunity to score later on in the game. And he threw 2 interceptions against the Philadelphia Eagles, both terrible times to do so when they were trying to score, and it was a closer game in the first half. Terrible interceptions leads to points for the other team, and this team really does know how to give turnovers to the other team. It's not good production. It's not going to help their team in any way. So it's number 4 on my list, costly turnovers for the New York Giants. At number 3 on our list, it is terrible play calling. Ben McAdoo, the head coach of the New York Giants, has been taking orders as the play caller for the New York Giants for the past 2 seasons. And look, it's not been very good. It has been almost awful in every way. They have not been able to score 30 points since he became the head coach 20 games ago. 20 games. They have not scored 30 points once. They've scored 28 is their most high. And I believe every other team in football since 2016 has had at least one game of production where they scored 30 points. And this comes down to the whole team effort. I understand that. But Ben McAdoo has been a terrible play caller. Look at some of these plays on 3rd down. Why would you go for a chip pass to a running back? Why would you call some of these plays? It baffles my mind to see Ben McAdoo call these plays with a quarterback like Eli Manning and then just decide this is the best way to go and then have a 3 and out or a costly 3rd down that didn't go well and they have to punt it on 4th. You look at the play calling choices, and I believe Gruden even said this in week 2, it baffles the mind. They are not good decisions, and when you're down in a game, having to come back, unless if you're helped out by the other team, this guy just does not know how to call plays. I'm sorry. Ben McAdoo is one of the worst head coaches in the league. I'm telling you that right now, especially with the play calling decisions. So number 3 on the list is terrible play calling. At number 2, we have a terrible offensive line in front of us. This offensive line is honestly bottom 3 in the league. They cannot block for shit. Eric Flowers got exposed against the Detroit Lions last week. They are not good whatsoever. They can't block what's in front of them. Ziggy Ansah had 3 sacks on the New York Giants last week. Philadelphia was crushing them because they have one of the best front 7 in football on the defensive side. And you have to block. As much as I'm going to give shit to the quarterback at number 1, you have to block for your quarterback. You have to stop them on big plays, big possessions. And this offensive line is pretty garbage. They couldn't stop the Dallas defense, which is not all that great. They had Detroit come out there, and then you had Philadelphia. And Philadelphia is probably one of the only legitimate ones in the top 10. But, man, if you're going to come out here and tell me you can't block for shit and not help out your quarterback, it's not a good situation. That's not going to help them at all. And it's definitely making them lose football games because they can't make good passes while he's under pressure. So that's number 2. And at number 1, we have Eli Manning. Eli Manning is their biggest problem. He is a bottom 3 quarterback this year. And if you tell me that's wrong, I really want you to back it up in the comment section, because this guy has been playing terrible. If you look at accuracy, it's not all that bad. It's pretty decent compared to some quarterbacks in this league. But a lot of these passes are chip passes, passes to his running backs, Shane Vereen being the biggest example, although that production wasn't there this week. He did play a better game throughout the second half of the Philadelphia Eagles game. He got a lot of production from Sterling Shepard, from Odell Beckham, and Brandon Marshall. They finally got that cohesive unit together for those 3. But I would say most of that production came to how good the receivers were for the most part. There were a couple of good passes, but if you look at the passes that Eli throws on a regular basis, they don't have the same flair anymore. He's lost that gusto that he used to have occasionally as a starting quarterback. I've always said he's the most overrated quarterback of all time, and I'll stand by this point. But this season, he has not played well. Those interceptions, all 4 of them, were terrible. Maybe the first one was okay, but those other ones were pretty trash. And you're going out there and leading this team. We said that they could get to the NFC Championship game, to the Super Bowl. And I've always said that the reason I don't want to put them very high in my mind is because their quarterback cannot get the same production. He just can't lead this team, and he has done awful on the football field. So that's why, number 1, they're struggling, is because of Eli Manning in particular. So thank you guys for watching this video. It looks like it's being uploaded in halftime of the Monday Night Football game. That's been kind of the tradition the last couple of weeks, so I might be keeping that tradition. I don't know. We'll try. We'll try to get it out earlier, but I like this tradition. Right in the middle of the football game, give you a little time to watch something else before the second half of the game comes on. So I appreciate you guys for watching the video. If you liked it, if you enjoyed this video, like the video. Comment below your thoughts. Are the Giants in trouble? Is this kind of the reasons why they're struggling? Subscribe to the Bottom Line View. More content, more NFL content on the way. I am going to be announcing my 4 big projects for November through February on the Raw Review tonight. I tweeted that out earlier today, give a little bit of a hint as to what that is going to be. 1 big project per month from November to February. So I want you guys to check out the Raw Review tonight, see what that's going to be all about. And I'll give all the details then, but appreciate you guys for watching. It's Dylan of The Bottom Line View.